Hi, I'm Malika Bilal, and you're in the stream, now live on Al Jazeera and YouTube. Today, what happens when fashion and activism collide? You're about to meet a group of women redefining what it means to be a model. For designers, models, and fashionistas alike, New York Fashion Week is the pinnacle of the season. But this year, there is buzz beyond the runway. We're seeing a convergence of fashion and activism, with the industry focusing on not only creating goods, but doing good. So is this awakening a moment or a movement? Because as fashion trends go, one day you're in and the next you're out. Well, here to discuss this, our panel of models. In the studio, we have Grace Mahary and Mari Malek. And in New York City, Jillian Mercado and Halima Aden. Welcome, everyone, to this stream. So good to have you here. I know you're busy in the midst of New York Fashion Week, so we appreciate you taking the time, because this is a topic that our community cares about. And so with that, I'm going to share a tweet from one of them. I'm going to give us a little bit of a spicy start, so I'm pre-warning you there. This is Musa, who tweets in, historically, fashion played a role in promoting social change. Today, I believe it's used more to feel good versus doing good. Jillian, do you want to take that on? This is more about what it looks like than actually doing the work.
It's funny she says that, because I think that now in today's world, I think that us as models have a voice because of social media, and we've used that platform to act on it, to be activists and actually do the work and show that, sure, we can, go down a runway and promote fashion, but we also are very passionate about the things that are personally affect us or that we see in every day. And if we have the power and the platform to do so, we go out and do it and show that, it's possible to be an activist, even in the fashion industry.
So I want to share an example right away with our audience. This is a tweet that you tweeted, Halima. My new CR fashion book cover story is all about UNICEF's efforts to help children uprooted. Join me and Gigi Hadid in supporting UNICEF USA in this incredible work. You can scroll down there and you can see the cover of the CR fashion book out today. And this is what you all are doing. Watch Gigi Hadid, Halima Aden, and more come together for CR13 and UNICEF. Of course, I watched you at a panel just this weekend talk about this very topic, fashion and activism. So this is something that New York Fashion Week thinks is important to discuss. Why was it important for you to talk about this issue?
So I actually have it right here with me, and how amazing. It's finally out. It's here today.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. This cover means everything to me. It's actually one of my favorite editorials ever, because for the first time, it's like UNICEF is on a fashion magazine, and we're bringing together activism with fashion, and we're showing the world that the two are very much compatible, and that you could still be on the cover, you could still be high fashion, and you could still be working with an incredible organization such as UNICEF. And I just want to encourage everybody to please visit my page. The link to the Instagram, and again, like that, we'll be supporting UNICEF. And
so it looks like Halima's connection is breaking up just a little bit, and that is coming to us from New York City. But I wanted to share another example that people noticed at New York Fashion Week. This is Weasel Workshop, that's their handle. They tweet in, Chromat Party uses their medium for body positivity and inclusion. Incredible show at New York Fashion Week. And they shared this tweet here, Grace. Lorraine says, New York Fashion Week Spring 2019 runway images from Vogue. Chromat Party are absolutely killing it with their designs. And you saw really body shapes of all types, people from all walks of life. What was it you noticed differently about this year than maybe perhaps other years?
It's, well, phenomenal. And maybe to put things into perspective, I've been in the industry for about 12 years, and I have been just so, to put it pretty forward, I'm bored with this straight size standard and the very homogenous group of models that get cast for certain things. And then, of course, I benefited from some of that because of my natural body type, but to see women in my family, women around the world, men as well, who differ and in body shape, race, ethnicity, sexuality represented in fashion and the media, it means everything. It means that we are trying to move, at least collectively as a culture and society, into a more truthful space. So I'm with it.
Mari, can you relate to that?
Absolutely, I do. I believe fashion is storytelling. And in order for us to be able to connect with the rest of the world and influence, because fashion influences so many, is for us to have voices, to tell the stories of the voiceless and the unheard through fashion or through our experiences. And this is why I believe, for myself specifically, that being a model was about, for me, to be a model with purpose, because I came as a refugee and I got this privilege and platform, and I feel fortunate. So I feel like I have to use my platform in ways where I can make a change. And it's so important for us in the fashion industry to be involved in making a change, because we have that platform to do so.
I love that you mentioned the platform. We were just seeing images of some of your modeling. I want to share a closer look with our audience here. This is via Kenneth Cole, the Courageous Class, Q&A, Mari Malek, and you can see some of her modeling there. But then this picture is a little bit different. Talk to us about what we are seeing here in this picture. You are with a group of students holding up menstrual kits.
Yes.
Talk to us about them and why they're so important to you.
So since I got involved in the fashion industry, I always wanted to share the stories of where I come from, South Sudan. South Sudan is the youngest country in the world. We're facing one of the worst refugee crises right now, and the ones who are suffering the most are women and children. Over 50% of South Sudan is children under the age of 18 years old, and 64% are women, and we are not prioritized to have empowerment, to have equality, or to have education. When a girl menstruates, she's already considered to be a woman, and she doesn't have access to school after that. She's married off, and many girls end up missing 3, 4, 5 days of school because they don't have access to menstrual products, or they completely drop out of school. So with Stand for Education, our nonprofit organization, is that we provide menstrual health products, and we give free menstrual health products. That picture was a picture of girls holding underwears where we put kits together. I go there every year and supply girls in school with kits, and these underwears last a girl for 1 to 3 years.
That's incredible.
And it's leakage free, it's sustainable, it's reusable. And this is not an issue that's just in South Sudan.
Of course,
it's
right.
all over the world. It's in refugee camps, it's in America, in prisons, in homeless shelters. Menstrual products should be free, like toilet paper.
Right.
And that's what we are working on.
And of course, they are not. Jillian, I see you nodding your head there. What did you want to add?
I mean, it's amazing because this is what I was saying earlier, is using our platform to show the world that these cases and these issues still exist. And it's very important for us to acknowledge that and to make changes. You know, I think we're just, us as a community, we've had it seeing this not being resolved. You know, so we're out there using our platform for good and actually making a difference that's much needed in this world. So I also do my best to work and talk about women and children who have disabilities around the world, because I'm very privileged to have grown in New York City, where we have such a diverse group of people. There's so many people out in the world who don't have the same privilege. And in my case, with disability, it's something that's not talked about as much as it should. So I always do my best and make sure that specifically women and children are being heard everywhere around the world.
So I want to share with our audience what that looks like for you. And it's in New York City, where you are. This is Times Square, the heart of the city. Look, our guests here are clapping for you, and well-deserved. Jillian Mercado, I'm not too outspoken, too vulnerable, driven, defiant, or ambitious, strong, too confident, or even too different. This is the ad campaign for Olay, Oil of Olay, and you can see you there with it behind you. This moment, of course, resonated online. It sent ripple effects. This is your face on this campaign. I want our audience to have a look at the video behind this campaign featuring Jillian Mercado. Have a look.
When I was diagnosed with my disability, there was this encyclopedia of things that I should know, shouldn't do, should do, act. So right there and then I was faced with so many things that I wasn't even sure that I actually wanted to follow it. And I know you're a little baby, you don't know. But then as an adult, you realize that you don't have to follow the rules that someone else has put for you. You can write your own journey in your own rule book. And that's something that I faced every single day. Try to add a new rule in my own rule book. My name is Jillian Mercado. Together, we can face anything.
You can write your own rule book. I'm taking notes there. An interesting comment that came up after you tweeted that out was this from Tatiana that I wanted to bring it up. Tatiana says, this is gorgeous, but I'm mad they didn't show your chair. But I know it's all about the face. Congratulations, and this, of course, is what she's talking about. Talk to us about that idea, not showing the chair.
Well, it's funny because nobody else was shown their full body. It's a face campaign, so they're right there putting me equal as everyone else, and that's I think it's the point. It's yes, my chair is a part of me. It's my leg, so to speak, but it's also I think that people use my chair before they see my personality and they see who I am, and I think that we've been brainwashed for centuries. With people who do look different, and that's the first thing that they acknowledge, and that's the first thing that they see without actually getting to know the person. So regarding her comment, they didn't show my chair because it wasn't a full body campaign. It was just a face campaign.
Our guests here on set are nodding. Grace, I wanted to bring this up because our guests are hearing, our audience is hearing what our guests have to say. And Sibyl writes in, how helpful or difficult is the fashion industry and its support for nonprofit activities as initiated by members like yourself? Is it difficult to merge those two parts of your identity?
You know what? I'll answer that after I just comment on what Jillian just said,
yes.
because Jillian knows this. I don't know if you know this, but my father is in a wheelchair. He was in an accident when I was 6 months old. And when I met Jillian, I was just outstanding. I was just astonished at her personality and her charisma and your ambition, because she's right. Like in that example, it is a face campaign. Why should her chair be there? Her chair is a part of her. And I think obviously for my father and for my family, we'd love to see the fact that you are in a chair, because yes, we do need to know that you exist and that you are a definition of beauty as well. And I, for a long time, all my life, until I met you, didn't think that this day would come. I didn't think that a person in a wheelchair would be a supermodel. And so thank you for being that shining light. And to answer the question, Twitter has brought up to us. Yeah, it is kind of difficult, especially now because I feel like the industry is a little oversaturated and it's quite difficult to get your project or your idea at the forefront of several different ideas, right? But I, on the other hand, have been so grateful and pretty lucky with some of the relationships I've made in this industry who have helped me along the way creating Project Sahai. So my nonprofit is dedicated to creating clean energy solutions for communities around the world that don't have access to power. I was born and raised in Edmonton, Alberta, moved to Toronto in high school. My parents come from Eritrea. They are immigrants. I was raised with a serious relationship with my country and my continent. And so when I got my first big break with a big designer, Givenchy, walking exclusively with them, the first thing I wanted to do with this amazing opportunity, like being in Paris, was go home. And I took myself home and I went alone, which is not normal for most of us kids.
And this is home in Eritrea.
In Eritrea, for 3 weeks. I don't really speak the language that well. I can get by on baby talk. I went there and I realized that I was born and raised in a way that's different, And I have now a platform and an opportunity to do something about that in a place that my family and friends and relatives are from, and relatable countries around the continent and world. And so that's what I'm doing. So I had my devices, my cell phone and my laptop there, and I was like, okay, I can't charge anything. I don't know when the next time I'll be able to use my device is. And I decided then and there that this is gonna be my project. This is what I'm gonna do. And obviously I chose clean energy because, well, maybe it's not obvious to everyone, but we are running out of fossil fuels, one. Two, we are harming the planet in an exponential rate. And three, I just want to see the youth in developing nations have the same access and opportunities that we do around the world.
Right. If you take a look at my laptop here, you will see that project, Clean Energy for All. And this headline, I think, pretty much sums it up for Grace. Fashion and social activism, the busy life of model Grace Mahary. The Canadian model aims to fight energy poverty with her project and her company. Halima, I could see you nodding there when Grace was talking about using that platform and going back home to try to give back. What were you thinking?
Well, first of all, Grace is my neighbor. East Africans all the way. I'm from Somalia, so I can totally relate to what she was saying about going home. And I recently got to go home for the first time too. And that experience was so life-changing. And to go back to the camp that I was born in and to see those kids and see all the hope and you know, like, it just makes you realize, like, it doesn't matter if a child is in America or Kakuma or a different part of the world. They're still children, and they want happiness. They deserve education. They deserve to feel secure and safe. And you know, ultimately, all children deserve to have a childhood, a happy childhood. So I'm so proud of you, Grace, and I'm nodding my head like, yes, I can totally relate to everything that you're saying. And I think exactly, like, we're in a time when fashion, we could do so much with it, you know, whether it's going back home or even just sharing it on our social media or being on Times Square. By the way, Jilly, oh my gosh, I'm literally in tears because that billboard was so beautiful. And I think of all the little girls that will see that and relate to you, and that's something for the first time the industry is providing people. And I'm just so incredibly honored to be with this group of women. I learned so much every day from you guys, and you guys inspire me so much. And yeah, I'm just so excited at this new direction the industry is taking.
We got a question live on YouTube from someone named Sumaya. She's a former Stream fellow, and she says, do you feel your activism is being taken seriously, or do people think you're being self-promoting and that in itself is not effective? Mari, I'll give that one to you. Do you think you're taken seriously, or are you looked at as, oh, that's just a model, she should stick to fashion?
Yeah, I think before, I started, I think the same time you did, 12 years ago. And I wanted to speak my voice as a model and have a story behind me. And many people did not get that in the industry. It's like, no, you're supposed to just show up for the client, take pictures, look beautiful. But I wanted to have something behind it. But now it's a huge commodity to be a model activist. It's trendy, but at the same time, I take it into consideration as a blessing because we are able to utilize our voices as well as our beauty, I guess, to make a change. And thanks to social media, because social media, sure, it could be a curse or a blessing, but it depends on how you, the individual, can take matters into your hands and be ethical and responsible with how you utilize your message. So not even just being a model, but just being a human being, we all are in a way have a specific way where we can give our opinions out and have a voice. And if you're a model, an actor, a doctor, a lawyer, or even a dishwasher, you still have a platform to speak up because there are so many other people in the world who don't have that platform. And that's the way we can utilize these ways. Right. So, yeah, right now it's pretty cool to be able to speak our voices as well as use our faces.
Right, and do all of the above, because what Mari, what you may not know about Mari, she's also also a DJ, so wears
And
many
an
hats there.
actress.
And an actress, wears many hats. All of our guests wear many hats. I wanted to bring in a little bit of pushback, though. This is a headline from someone who sent us a video comment. The headline is, "Why does fashion suddenly care about activism?" So this is picking up on the idea that this is just a trend. We got a video comment from the author of this piece. His name is Jake Hall. He's a freelance journalist out of the UK, and this is what he asks.
So I do think it's great that so many designers are using their platforms to raise awareness of certain issues, but I also think it's worth remembering that the fashion industry is the second dirtiest in the world. It has its own issues to deal with, so we need to see if companies are actively addressing them, whether they have a transparent supply chain, whether or not they're kind of working to avoid exploitation, and whether or not they have diverse representation from the inside out. Also think that in today's political climate, it can feel like activism is a little bit of a marketing tool, especially when it comes to dealing with what's deemed to be a more engaged youth generation. So I think that for brands to actually be an activist, it means doing it for more than one season. It means donating at least some of their proceeds and also looking within their own companies to fix those issues as well.
Doing it for more than one season. Jillian, I want to throw that one over to you. What do you make of that?
Well, there's a lot.
Yeah, right.
I mean, yeah, I can see how people can see that, this may look like it's a trend or whatnot. But I feel like, especially now, I mean, I can be honest and tell you that I've never been to more protests and march in my life than I have in the past year or two, because we are noticing that this is like, we're in a state of emergency now, and that our rights can be quickly taken away from us so quickly. So I feel like, to piggyback of what was said before, we have this like amazing platform that we're reaching millions and millions of people, and we're talking and posting about things that actually matter and care for us, and that it could affect everyone, And I feel like, we're in the fashion industry now, and yes, there is a lot of things to change within the industry that we still haven't acknowledged or changed, but, it's baby. It takes one person at a time. It takes conversation. It takes, talking about it at family gatherings,
right,
with friends, and, and actually making that change happen.
It sounds like
we're getting there.
I do believe that you are, and it sounds like what you're saying is that it's sort of an organic process. Halima, this week in the panel that I mentioned earlier that you spoke at, Fashion and Activism, one of the audience members or on the panel, one of the questions that came up was that you are an activist and whether or not that you can embrace that title. Do you call yourself an activist? Would you label yourself as that?
I personally don't label myself as an activist because I feel like for me, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm 20 and I still have so much to learn, and my work with UNICEF just started this past year. So it's exciting, but I really see myself as a student, if anything, and I think activism is such a, you know what I mean? I feel like when I think of that term, I think of Audrey Hepburn, I think of women like Oprah, and, like people who really dedicated their entire like lives and careers into, you know what I mean? Not just like a 1 year type of thing. And for me, I feel like part of the reason why it's different for me is because I was in a refugee camp. I was born there. I lived there for 7 years, and I understand it's very much about, for me at least, it's this feeling of I've gotten so many blessings, whether it was from the workers in the camp or just people, even when we moved to America, who have helped my family adjust into this new country. So I feel like when you're given that many blessings and truly like the chance of a lifetime, I almost owe it to do whatever I can, whether it means whatever I can with this new platform, or even if I wasn't modeling, like I was doing housekeeping at St. Cloud Hospital, and I was still like trying to raise awareness about the refugee crisis and trying to bring attention to that, whether it was volunteering at my community or just sharing my story and struggles. I feel like for me, it was always a social responsibility, and I don't really focus on the label because, you know what I mean? I feel like it's just something we should all work towards.
I do, and I think that is the point we're going to have to pause this conversation because we run out of time. I want to give a big thanks to all of our guests and of course to our community, and end with the ways that you can get in touch with our guests via Instagram. This is Halima's Instagram page. Over here you have Grace Mahary's. Here is Mari Malek. And instead of Instagram for Jillian, I'm going to show this on newsstands now. Teen Vogue with Jillian Mercado. Thanks so much for joining us. Until next time, we'll see you online.
It. This is amazing. Yes.